Today's episode of the Rossie Podcast is proudly sponsored by Shannonside Hotel, Bar and Restaurant on the Athlone Road in Roscommon town. With fantastic lunch and dinner menus available and overnight stay packages, it's the perfect place to relax, unwind and spend time with friends and family. shannonshotel.com. You're welcome back to the Rossie Podcast. This week I'm joined by now former Roscommon player Ciaráin Murtagh to look back on Roscommon's 3-18 win to 24 points win over Armagh in King and Moffat Dr. Hyde Park. Ciaráin, I introduced you as former Roscommon player. Does it sound strange at all yet?
Yeah, a small bit actually, now that you mention it. But it's been grand. A little bit more time to myself, I suppose. But the lads are doing great without a few of us that were retired. So it's no harm. It's no harm.
Yeah, cause it's fantastic, and the feel-good factor is really there now. 2 wins out of 3, and a really good performance in Kerry. We won't harp on about it. Like, I've gone on about it enough as well, and everyone else, that's done. But a really good performance down there, and to back it up on the back of that, then with 2 home wins against Monaghan and Armagh, it's just great stuff, and the positivity really there in Roscommon football now.
Yeah, that's the thing, and like they were very disappointed, I'd say, not to get a result down in Kerry, which nobody would have given them a chance going down, only themselves. But it really, really good performance down there, and then backed it up again against Monaghan, and were really comfortable in the end against Monaghan, and then to go again today, 3 games in a row with brilliant performances. I think that's the most pleasing thing for spectators and for the team, and I'd say the management as well. So it's nice that they're showing a bit of consistency, and then after getting 2 results in a row as well is great.
Yeah, like you've been a part of Division 1 campaigns. Is it like my feeling going into it is if we could get good performances really going into it and things to build on, I'd be quite happy. The fact we backed it up now with a couple of great wins as well is even an absolute bonus. Like, have the lads performed even better than you expected to at this stage, given the fact that we're missing, obviously the Bridges fellas, they haven't come back into the panel just yet, and you still have a few injuries like Keane McKeown, Connor Cox, Sultan Harney are still not around at the moment as well. So considering you have that amount of bodies missing and the performances, has it surprised you somewhat?
Not overly surprised me, I don't think. I suppose going into Division 1, you're always, first of all, trying to get safe and avoid relegation, and I think that's the same for every team that are in it. Obviously, maybe Kerry or Donegal are always pushing for a league final, but the majority of teams there are just trying to get safe first and foremost, and then once you get safe, then you can start looking the other way. And I'd say Roscommon were the exact same. I suppose the first game against Kerry, it can be a good time to get the All-Ireland champions as well, but obviously didn't get the result in the end. But I suppose after 3 games, if you told them they'd be on 4 points, they definitely would be very, very happy with that. And then two big games to come now with Galway and Dublin coming up next. If they can get 1 more win, maybe 2 there, then you're looking up the other way in the table as well. Yes. So I'm not overly surprised when you look at the team sheet. I'm not overly surprised there with the performances that they're getting. Younger lads are coming in now. Well, lads that have been there, they've been around the panel a few times, but I suppose I kind of see them as younger lads like the Heenahans and boys like that, and Owen Ward and fellas like that. They're really just coming into their own now. They've kind of matured as well as county players. And it's just great that they're playing with a bit of freedom, and then it's given the other lads a little bit of room as well. Your Jeremy and your Endon, Darragh and boys like that are around a long time. But I suppose one player that's really standing out for me so far as well is Dylan Ruan. I think he's been excellent. His possession count today must have been off the charts, I'd say. And does a lot of the untold work. So they kind of have that mixture now of boys that are doing the dirty work, and then obviously the lads with class as well that are scoring some serious scores. So all in all, I'm not overly surprised there, to be honest. And I'm just delighted that they are picking up wins because they deserve it and they're training hard. So I'm delighted they're getting the reward for that now.
Yeah, and look, going into the game as well, like Armagh were favourites. That to be honest, I couldn't believe. I only use bookies odds as a guide usually a lot of the time. But Roscommon were nearly 3-1 during the week, which I couldn't believe really, with picking a home advantage. And kind of same as what more could Roscommon have done? Like you said there, no one gave them prayer against Kerry. Should have got something there, and they beat Monaghan comfortably by 6 points. So they really couldn't have done any more up till now. So not many people again giving them a chance. I think most people expected a tricky game with Armagh to come out on top, but I suppose it's the start. And like, this game can really, you have to break it down into 2 parts, because the wind and the Hyde, like a lot of people go on about Salt Hill, and I go on about Salt Hill, but my God, geez, the Hyde wind blowing down at that graveyard, and you would have a better insight than me. Like, how hard is it first of all, to play either way, because sometimes you can, when you're playing with the wind, you can force it that bit as well, and you're wasting attacks and you're trying shots that maybe you wouldn't normally go for because of that wind. Like, it's really maybe underrated, that wind in the high, because Jesus, it's very strong a lot of the time.
It is. And just to go back on your initial point there about Armagh being like 3-1 or whatever it was, but I don't see where that's coming from. Like, Roscommon definitely would have targeted that game against Armagh and Hyde. We've always done our fair share against Armagh as well, if you look back on the results as well in previous history as well. But I suppose we probably don't get credit then for the performance against Kerry, because they say, oh, it was an off day for them, but they weren't really talking about how good Roscommon actually were when they came back into it. And again, against Monaghan, it's always, oh, well, Monaghan weren't great and Roscommon picked up the win. So it's kind of annoying that way, Darragh. But Roscommon would have targeted that game against Armagh, and I'm delighted that they came out on top in it. But as you said, it was nearly a game of two halves. You could even see how strong the wind was. And you can see boys coming out then around the arc looking for the 2-pointers. And I think that's probably what won it for us in the end, is the fact that we seemed to be a little bit more comfortable with that. And then I suppose when they went for them in the second half, they were kind of panic shots. And they only have one or two. Armagh only have one or two long range shooters now with the boys that they're missing. So I think a 12-point lead at halftime, I'd say Roscommon were very, very happy. Obviously there was goal chances and stuff in the second half, but all in all, I think they won it fairly easy. I won't say easy in the end, but it's kind of like we were battling so long for the 2-pointers, and then they were going for it as well. But I just feel like we were comfortable coming near the end, even though it was kind of helter skelter and they were like winning kickouts and stuff like that. But still, we seemed like anytime we got up the other end of the pitch that we were able to get a score as well. So all in all, I wouldn't say that it was full panic stations, even though it looked like they were getting back on top. But I'd be happy with the way we finished out the game, to be honest.
Yeah, and I think, and I might be open to correction here, but it felt like, I think 3 points was as close as they got, and that was the final score as well in that whole second half. So they never really got within 1 or 2. We always had them at arm's length. It went from 8 to maybe 5 and then back to 6 or 7 again. So we always seem to, maintain that lead quite well. Look, the first half as well, and I suppose the first 20-25 minutes, we really went after them. We went after the 2-pointers, and the big thing I found in the first 3 games is that the forward pressure, we're actually really going after teams. I found it in Kerry. We got the goal against Monaghan. Enda, it was a turnover. And again today, even on the kick out, we get that goal off. Enda gets the foot in on the Hughes kick out as well. Have you noticed that they're actually really pushing up on teams and going after them this year?
Yeah, big time, man. Like, it's definitely, they're getting the reward from it as well with scores. But like, there's such pace there. It's really hard for defenders to get out by the likes of Darragh and the two Darraghs, Darragh Heenan and Darragh Craig. Then German End, obviously a bit of experience there. And as I said, Ruan is working his socks off. And then Rob Heenan as well has been, he's doing a lot of untold work, even though he's named in at 15. He's constantly moving all the time and probably doing a lot of dirty work for the other lads. But it's so hard for teams to get out. And Kerry would be so comfortable, I think, getting balls short, but they couldn't get out against Roscommon. And I thought it was the same against Monaghan and the same again today. Roscommon would have been happy enough for Armagh to go short and then press on some of their defenders. That probably could have been a tactic. I don't know if it was or not, but they seem a lot more comfortable pressing. You're right there, and it's noticeable as well. And they're getting the reward from it as well. So long may it last.
Yeah, look, to highlight a couple of performers, especially in the first half, I have to highlight Diarmuid. I don't know how you feel about giving Diarmuid praise, but he's really flying it at the moment. I think 1-7 again today. He was the top scorer across the 4 divisions before today. I'd imagine he'll be staying at that, adding 1-7, and he seems very comfortable. Like, looping out, just clever play. Because I think the first 2-pointer he got, he kind of he wasn't really looking for it, but then it opened up, and he said, "Why not with that wind?" Like, he's really bringing the shooting boots, anyways.
Yeah, he is. I suppose I can give him a bit of praise now because I'm not fighting for a position against him. But no, in fairness to him, he is like he's scoring heavy and probably has done for the last couple of years. But a lot of the time, Roscommon players, I suppose, don't get the credit that they deserve. If another fellow was doing that in another county, there'd be a lot of talk about it. But then you even look at the scores that the likes of Enda and Darragh are racking up as well. There's probably not enough talk about the 3 of them at the moment, to be honest. I don't want to blow them up anymore or put them under any more pressure. But then it's great to see the other lads that are chipping in with a point here and there. Even Brady getting the 45 today, like they're crucial kicks, and it mightn't seem it at the time. But for him to come up and nail the 45 is huge for the other lads as well. And fair enough, they're putting up big scores, the three lads that we mentioned, but it's very important then for the likes of the two Heenans to be adding points here and there, and then Dylan the last day as well added his couple of points. So it's really important to, I suppose, get a spread of scores, but you also need your main men scoring heavy, and they are doing that at the moment as well.
Yeah, and like Enda, I think actually was just watching it back on TG Gara. I think he got the official man of the match, 1-2 from him again today, and he's really playing well. And again, I spoke to Cahill after the Monaghan game. He seems to be staying a lot closer to goal this year. He seems to be staying maybe as one of the three a lot more than not, which I think is definitely helping his game. I think I've always said you don't want to really see Enda back in the half back line. I think towards the end now he was actually back in the full back line, protecting the goal, but he seems to be staying up a lot closer to goal, and I think we're reaping the benefits of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you need the likes of them and a few of them fresh every time the ball comes up. And in fairness, he does a lot of work around the middle, catching kickouts and winning breaks and different things like that as well. So I suppose he's not just always taking the lazy option, but it definitely is giving him a bit more energy. I think when he gets the ball, then he has always been dangerous. But in the last couple of games, it just seems a little bit different. Like the spark is back there. He's going at men and he's getting goals so easy. And even when they are breaking forward, everyone's kind of collapsing on him. So he has loads of options as well when he's going for goal. But it's great to see him getting goals, and like what he's been doing the last few years. But he seems to be running with a lot of energy now, and he has a lot more energy because of the fact the three up, and that allows him to, I suppose, get a break when he needs it as well.
And look, we'll have to give Darragh Craig as well. 6 points from him, and he seems to be really starting this year sharp. Because look, you'll know better than me, especially in training, and that I've always said I think he is all the ability in the world to be one of the real top players in the country. Like you look at as well the confidence he's taking the right footed frees at the moment. He's left footed. That kind of, if you show that ability at county level, that really shows how talented you are. So he's really started well. And the 2-pointer he got, he was off balance, left foot straight over the bar. Like just a real top asset to have. And again, he seems to be playing a lot closer to goal. He seems to be, inside that 21. And more often than not, when it goes into him, he wins it.
Absolutely, and I was just saying to someone else as well. It's just there's such a variation to their forward play now. I suppose that do you push out on Enda and try and stop him doing them runs? Do you push out on German to try and stop him to get the 2-pointers? And then you have the option of Darragh inside 1-on-1 with his man, and it's impossible to mark him, to be honest. With the speed that he has, and then obviously he's so comfortable off both feet. In particular, the 2-pointer today in first half was exceptional. But he just feels like I feel like he's playing with serious confidence, as he should be. And I feel like a lot of the players are playing with confidence, and that's huge there. And you can even see it. The lads that are coming off the bench, they're probably not happy that they're not playing, but they're still coming in with such confidence. Like Jack Duggan to go by his man on the end line today and set up that goal for Paul Carey. That just shows that he's playing with huge confidence, and he was the same when he came on against Kerry as well. So it's great that I suppose, as we mentioned, the players that are playing with confidence and scoring heavily, but then when you have subs coming off the bench as well and having an impact as well, that's huge, particularly in Division 1.
Yeah, and you touched on it towards the start. Like a lot of these lads, like say Jack Duggan, Paul Carey, even Senan Lamb. I know he started a good few games towards the end of last year, but not a lot of experience. Owen Ward, the two Heenan lads, Paddy Gavin played the first couple of games, Caleb Keogh as well. Like so many lads there. Like I think even Aaron Brady in goal. Like Aaron Brady's been with the county panel for a long time, but not in this environment, I suppose, of starting. Like I think was there 10 debutants across the board so far in the league. Like that's massive. So it's a mix of everything. They've been in the county panel, a lot of these lads for a couple of years in and out, but now they're getting their chance, and in fairness, they're taking it.
Absolutely, and even to start off, I suppose with Aaron Brady, like he's been on the panel for a good few years and constantly there, constantly training and pushing on Conor Carroll or any of the other keepers that are there, and he'd be the first man at training, and he'd be pinging over 45s and different things like that. So it's great to see him getting his chance and actually taking the chance as well now that he's getting it, and then moving up the lines as well. Caleb Keogh is just going around about his business just so quietly, like no matter who's coming in on him, he's just getting on with his job. And you can actually see him if you watch the game. He makes some serious driving runs forward, And it's just pure selfish run. He's just running straight into the box and coming back out again just to bring a man with him. He has no intentions of getting a score, but he's doing dirty work for the team as well. And then moving on, like the Owen Ward, I'm nearly certain he was on Turbo today and kept him scoreless. Like, so that's huge for the team. And then Sen and Lamb, I just think he's been excellent. He's just a joy to watch him flying up and down the wing, and has been for the last 3 games as well. But like that, these boys have trained hard for the last couple of years now, and it's great to see them get chances and actually taking them, as I said earlier on as well.
Yeah, I counted at a stage in the first half, maybe around 25 minutes. It was actually 2-13 to 5 points, which is incredible to think we were 14 points up at a stage in the first half. I think to be very picky now, maybe that kind of 25 minutes to 35 minutes where we only score one more point and kind of let Armagh settle a bit. We could have maybe put the foot really down because they were struggling big time. Now maybe they used their bit of experience as well to slow it down, keep a bit of possession, and that's probably being picky. That kind of 10 minutes where we kind of maybe let them off the hook a small bit.
Yeah, that, and like to go 14 points up against Armagh was probably it's nearly unheard of as well for a team to do that in Division 1. But it seems to be happening a little bit more. But the team that are going 14 points down then aren't panicking either, because they know Buzzman have a breeze and the 2-pointers as well. That you're never really out of the game anymore. I suppose that's the annoying part of it as well. You think they're at half time that we have the game wrapped up, but with the 2-pointers and with the breeze, as you mentioned earlier, in the Hyde as well, it's huge. And it probably doesn't even on telly, it probably doesn't seem as strong as it actually is. So yeah, like what you said, they kind of wound down the clock a little bit in the first half, but that was always going to happen. But Roscommon didn't give them a chance, I suppose, for the first 15 or 20 minutes to actually wind down the clock, which was great, and to rack up such a big score. Because we gave ourselves such a good, comfortable, I suppose, amount of points at half time, and it was like, were they ever going to claw back a 14-point win or 14-point win? I didn't think so at halftime. I thought we were fairly home and hosed, and I suppose it showed as well that they never got within 3 of us then as well.
Yeah, and like, will the second half please marked out, and the management just as much that again we did see it out. Like there was spells, and like we may touch on it, and I will touch on it. There was a big moment in that second half where McQuillan gets the goal and it's given as a breach. Now I'm sure they'll highlight it if on League Sunday, and that maybe freeze it and to see how many men. I actually, watching it back, it did feel like I think they won a kick out and maybe one man did push on. So I think it was probably the right call just off watching that. But that was that was a big moment. If that goes to 4 points with about 20 minutes to go, that is a big moment.
Yeah, it was absolutely. I think actually looking back on the replay as well, I tried to count how many they up. I think they did actually have the breach, and you can nearly hear it on the telly as well. The boys stemming for it, but that was a huge moment as well. If that goal had stood, they would have been under huge pressure, and they were under pressure at that time with kickouts. I think they might have lost maybe 12 long kickouts in the second half, which is a lot. But sometimes they go for you, and sometimes they don't. The breaks and stuff like that. And a lot of the kickouts now are just 50-50. They're just kind of banged out into a pod, and everyone just fights for it. But yeah, that was a big turning point, I think. And then it's kind of a double whammy when you go down then, and Jeremy tips over a point as well. So you're not getting your goal at one end, and then you get the sucker punch down the far end as well. But that's the rule that's there, and it can be annoying when it doesn't go your way, but it's a lovely one when it works out like what it did for Roscommon today.
Yeah, like again, being picky, I'm sure the kickouts maybe in the second half it'll be something they'll be looking at this week, and saying, okay, it's a tough win for Aaron Brady to kick into, and it's what's nearly a loss of time as well. It's actually easier break down and win the opposition kick out, especially with the wind. You can nearly run into it and attack it a bit more than your own. But that's probably one because Armagh really did take over in the second half, and I think you said there 12 or 13 long kickouts they won, so we can't really be affording to do that too many more times in halves.
No, it's not Aaron's fault either. It's just the game is gone, and that's the way the rules have made for it as well. It's nearly too much of a risk to go too short now. You could even see Blaine Hughes as one in the first half as well, and we get a goal off it. Even in the Tyrone game as well, after the same thing happened for them. So it's kind of a big risk to go short, but it's definitely, I'd say, an area that they will work on. But it's great to come out with a win and still have a work on. But I think we will start to, I suppose, need to get a few medium kickouts or maybe the odd one short. We did get a few in the first half as well. Actually, Aaron went short for a couple. But I suppose when you're under huge pressure like that, or losing maybe 10 or 12 in a row, you definitely have to change it up a bit. But it's great to have something to work on as well going into the next few games.
Yeah, and look, we hung on, and like again, another player who's probably just going about business quite quietly is Ronan Daly. He's wearing six the whole time, but he's a massive player in there. I think just even for experience and know-how, because again, you're looking at a lot of inexperienced players in terms of this level, anyways. There's like Caelan Keogh, Owen Ward, Senan Lamb. Okay, Niall Higgins has been there a few years now, but even Aaron Brady's new as well. So just to have that bit of experience back there, and I think actually when McQuillan got the goal, he went at Ronan, but Ronan wasn't going to be backing down from that anyways. The one player definitely wouldn't.
It's great to have him there, and I think even against Kerry as well, with the likes of Sean O'Shea there, to keep him kind of quiet and just make sure that he doesn't have as much of an impact as what he usually has. But I thought he just kind of went around about his business today very quietly. Ronan did, but still, when there was a few rows and stuff, he was there and kind of, I suppose, laying down his authority as well. He is a senior player, and he's a very important player for the team now as well. And even having Owen McCormack behind him as well, I think it's huge. It was a big hit from going off at half time. I'd say he might have picked up a niggle. But then when you have Colm Neary to come in then for him, like it's great to have players like that to come in off the bench. But I think Owen, even he was marking Oisín Connaughty and kept him very, very quiet, which was huge. Huge for Roscommon, because I suppose Armagh would have thought that they were going to get a lot off Connaughty, and then Owen just snuffs them out, which is great. So I think having Ronan at 6 and Owen at 3 is huge for the next few games, and even going into championship as well.
Yeah, and like again, the midfield pairing, and I know we were on about the second half, we did struggle, but like you can't forget the first half as well. We did dominate their kick out, for instance, and Keith Doyle and Conor Ryan, again, solid across the board in these 3 games. Conor Ryan has slotted in really nicely, and it's good to see Keith Doyle as well, because probably Keith would be our best fielder of the ball, I'd say. If everyone is available, I think it's just again keeping Keith on the field and fit, hopefully for the year now. And if you can hopefully add back Shane Canan as an option. I know Eddie Nolan's not available for the championship, but it's just about adding a bit of depth, because I suppose Jack Duggan came on for Conor Ryan. Jack Duggan probably wouldn't be naturally a midfielder, and you don't really want to be moving Enda back into midfield. So I suppose it's getting the couple of lads back to offer that bit more options in the middle as well.
Yeah, they have been very good. Conor Ryan has just kind of seamlessly come into the team, hasn't he? And he's been very good, and he's just kind of going around his business. It just seems like all the Pearses lads are just quietly going about their business.
Yeah.
And it's similar enough when they're playing the club championship as well. Like, these are all good players that are coming in, and it doesn't take them long to, I suppose, fit into a team like that as well. But like that, Keith Doyle has been excellent. I think in the last few games he's kind of maturing as well, and he's, I suppose, becoming one of the older players on the team as well, and he's been on the panel a few years now, so it is time for him to be stepping up, and for such a big man as well. But it's huge to have him in the middle catching kickouts. And as you said, in the first half, we're kind of picking the nitty gritty in the second half when we're losing kickouts, but we dominated them for a long time in the first half as well. And Keith Doyle and Conor Ryan had a huge say in that as well. I remember even Doyle caught one, and the ref gave a harmless free as well.
Yeah.
Push, which was kind of annoying as well. But in fairness, the two of them held their own. If you can get them to hold their own in all the games, we definitely can do the damage then up top, I think.
Yeah, and look, a massive positive, and it was the fear I had going into the league, is how many times we'll be hearing, when are the Bridges lads coming back? When are they back? When are they back? After maybe say 3 losses, and you're trying to rush those lads back in after a really long, grueling club campaign. The fact that I think a few of them are back training, but they weren't involved in the game today, means that we don't have to rush them back. We can ease them back in, and they're coming into a panel now that are full of confidence, and they'll only add to us. Like I said, the lift, your likes of your Conor Hands and Ben O'Carroll's and whatnot coming into the panel just to add that bit of extra competition. Because again, no more than Aaron Brady will say in goal at the moment, if you play well, you keep the jersey, really.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Mark Dowd said that after the game in one of his interviews as well, that if you're playing well, you'll be playing, and that's it. And that's how he's keeping the panel happy, I suppose. But yeah, no, it is great that we don't really have to rush the Bridges lads back. Like, they obviously had a great year, and I suppose they'd be very disappointed as well, having not won it out. But they'll be coming back in, I suppose, with huge confidence, and then coming into a team that is full of confidence as well. It's actually very exciting now for the next few to see the likes of Conor Hank coming on, or Rory Fallon coming on, and players like this, just to see how good we can actually be. But I wouldn't like to be having Conor Hand, I suppose, on one wing and maybe Darragh on the other wing. I don't think too many half backs will want to pick them up, but it's great that we don't have to rush them back in, Darragh. I think that's huge, and that Mark Dowd isn't under pressure to put them back in. But I suppose them lads will be greedy as well. They'll want to start in 15 jersey, and that'll be pushing the whole panel on. So it's exciting times ahead, I think.
Yeah, and you'll know as well, you need a panel. Like you just do. Every top team, you need a panel, you need competition, and that's the big thing, that we have a panel of 26 there that talked out today without any of the Bridges fellas, without Olsen Harney, Connor Cox, Keane McKeown obviously picked up a bad enough injury. Hopefully it'd be okay for championship. Like even you're looking at it like a Declan Kenny, for instance, who played really well in the club championship the last couple of years. He wasn't on the 26 today as well. So that's what it's all about. Because if you're going to do anything later in the year, you are going to need a good, strong 26 going to championship.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, and even when you name them players that aren't playing, and even your own Colin and Jack Tumulty, who had serious years for Pierce's as well, and Tumulty continued that on them with DCU as well. But like even for them lads not to be getting minutes today, it just shows, I suppose, the competition that's in the squad, and that's only going to get better now that the Bridges lads are back, and I suppose the few lads had knocks as well that you mentioned, like Colton and hopefully McKeown in a few weeks' time, and then Cox as well. So yeah, it is exciting, and I suppose a lot of them are around the middle as well, middle eight. So that's going to make it, I suppose, a lot more competitive now, and we're going to need that against the likes of Galway, and even when you get the Mayo and then moving on into Donegal as well. We're definitely going to need that and more variation as well.
Well, look, it's a quicker turnaround. A quick look ahead to Galway. It's on a Saturday night at 7 o'clock, so it's a 6-day turnaround this time round. So I'd imagine it's recovery, probably one proper session. Again, you'll know better than me what usually would happen here and Galway. So I don't know what the week would typically look like when a 6-day turnaround happens.
Yeah, but it does, and it's great because you don't have to train as much, and the players will be delighted with that as well. The management mightn't, but the players definitely will. But a lot of them will have their recovery done today, Darragh, and they'll probably have gym session probably tomorrow and train midweek. Maybe an easy session on the Friday, but maybe not as well when you have 6-day turnaround in the middle of 3 games in the league as well. But look, they'll definitely be going down to Galway, I think, with a lot of confidence. But then Galway, after their last couple of games as well, will be playing with a bit of confidence. So it'll be an exciting game. Galway are getting a few players back from injury as well. So it'll be interesting to see what the starting 15 is for Galway, but also what the starting 15 will be for Roscommon. But I can't see there being too many changes in that Roscommon team for the next day.
Yeah, and you're maybe saying there now, I said the last day after the Monaghan game, you can't wait to get back training. I don't know, maybe this level of training sometimes can be tough going, so maybe you don't want to be training. But I'd say just to get back on the field again, like you're just going in, you're probably can't wait for the next game to come around when you're on this kind of a bit of a buzz, and it's like bring on the next challenge now.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's definitely a lot easier when you're winning games there. Definitely. But look, the lads would be delighted to be heading down training, and then I suppose no matter what happens against Galway, you have a game again the week later. So that's the best thing about the league as well. Especially when you have this block, I suppose, of 3 games, and it's really, really important to be picking up points in these 3 games as well. Because every team kind of targets this block of 3 games in the middle. So Roscommon have 1 win from 3 now at the moment in this block. So definitely to be targeting the Galway and Dublin game to at least get 2 more anyways, and if not more.
Yeah, look, to finish up on Galway on Saturday, would you be hopeful that we can pick up a win? Because okay, it's an away game, but it's not the worst away game because it is a ground we would know quite well, Salt Hill, and play there quite a bit over the years. So it's not the worst away game to get.
No, it's not, and I haven't been overly impressed with Galway, I suppose, in the first half of both of the games that I've watched. But then they've all just stayed in the game and they've picked up results out of nowhere, and that's kind of, I suppose, that's how dangerous they are. If they play for a full 60 minutes, how good will they actually be? But looking at their team sheet and stuff, I don't think Roscommon will be fearing them next week. And I think Roscommon will be going there with huge confidence as well. So it'll be interesting just to see, I suppose, how they line out and how many players Galway bring back for this Roscommon game, because it seems like it's a big game now between the two of them. The way results have gone as well. So Galway probably see it as a big game, and they won't want Roscommon come down taking points off them, I don't think.
Yeah, well, an early warm-up to a Iconic Championship to look forward to on Saturday evening. That's in Pierce Stadium in Salt Hill. So hopefully the momentum continues. Another big crowd can come out and hopefully we'll pick up another couple of points maybe to see us to safety. So Ciara, thanks very much for joining me this week. And remember, this podcast is available on YouTube, Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Just a reminder that today's episode of the Rossie Podcast is proudly sponsored by Hannon's Hotel Bar and Restaurant on the Athlone Road in Roscommon town. With fantastic lunch and dinner menus available and overnight stay packages, is the perfect place to relax, unwind and spend time with friends and family. HannonsHotel.com.